Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. As you know, we're doing 3 a week and we are bringing you stories that nobody else has really wanted to touch because, well, they're uncomfortable. And frankly, they should be uncomfortable because we're not talking about, Trudeau or Mark Carney being a DICK. We're talking about the real realities of what's going on in the community and in this space where things are being abused, like our medical system and our veterans are being taken advantage of. And this is one that we've been covering now for a few years, but I've been reaching out after the Senate hearing, as you guys saw go viral, and I've been trying to speak to other veterans and first responders, i.e. the RCMP veterans, who have been offered euthanasia instead of help and support. A lot of you guys have known this has been well more than 5, even though you heard Sean Casey lie through his teeth in my testimony, saying it was 1 and 1 case manager, which we're all able to prove, and we all know is a lie. So what I wanted to do, even though our episodes have been shorter and a little different, I wanted to bring on another veteran who I have known of in the community for a little while, and his, exemplary service as a member who was willing to sign on the dotted line and raise his right hand for this country, only then to be offered MAID. And I'm not talking about the cleaning service, the one that everybody thinks exists. It's not, jokes on you. It's the cleaning service for the vulnerable and the burdens and the people that the Canadian government don't want to look after. So before we get started, you guys can check out the people that keep the show going. As you know, I've talked about them all the time: Ketone IQ and Good Living. It's the reason why we function. It's the reason why I function. And frankly, it's the reason why you should be functioning. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the honest news and actual things that are going on in this country, make sure you go over to our YouTube and do that now. But more importantly, and the most important, the guest that we have today is somebody that I'm so honored and grateful that is trusting me with his story and with really just the opportunity to hear his side of things. And so we have a lovely individual. I'm going to let you guys hear who he is through his words, and then we're going to go into it. So hi, David. Why don't you tell everyone who you are?
So my name is David Baltzer. Now, for the record, I just wanted to mention, because back home, it's a bit of a long story. My last name is Buick. It should be Buick. I was raised by the Buicks, my father. But at the time, my mother wasn't married to my father, so she gave me her name.
Perfect.
So back home, when I was growing up, I used the name Buick. Everybody would know who I am by David Buick in St. Catharines, Ontario. So I just wanted to start off with that. I ended up joining the Army through a co-op program in the reserves. So it was in grade 11. I ended up going to 1 term and the Lake Street Armories for the Lincoln and Welland Regiment. About 2001 was when I was sworn in. So it was an exciting time for me at that time, and it was a way to I don't know, in a sense, in my sense of thinking, as a way to get away and just establish myself as a young man growing up, coming up in the world, I guess I could say.
Did you have any military family or people who had served before?
My grandfather, he was Scottish. He grew up during World War II. In the dirty 30s, they were getting bombed by the Germans, and he was in all kinds of branches of services. He was in the Merchant Navy. He was doing very well, actually, but he took too much leave when he had my father, and then he ended up getting posted to Germany with the Royal Engineers for about 3 years, and he actually did some pretty interesting things he never told me about, but I kind of started to put things together as I grew older. Yeah. He did volunteered for the mail service to send extra money home, and then they ended up doing some other duty where he'd get paid extra money for having a suitcase of information handcuffed to him, and you go in the rail car and go into the Russian zone and exchange information. He said he liked the Russians because they'd always give him a shot, and the general would salute him, and they would end up drinking together. So
I love that. Yeah. It sounds like it reminds me of like the Bert. Do you know who the comedian Bert Kreischer is?
I can't say I do off the top of my head. Don't.
He's I'm just gonna give you, this is why this made me think of this. He's a famous comedian from the United States, really nice guy. I've met him, and he's been very, very kind man, but he's a comedian who tells a story about in high school how he went to Russia, and it actually happened. But his whole comedian thing is he's known for taking his shirt off. He's known for the story about the machine, about Russians, and telling the story. Anyway, they turned it into a movie. It's called The Machine on Netflix. You should watch it. I think it'll click for you. It's fantastic. just made me think of Russians. Sorry, I totally digress. It's very early in the morning here. But that's cool though, that you had a background at least, and you came from something where it made sense.
Yeah, yeah. I guess also my uncle, he was in the army in '83. That's when I was
Okay.
born, but he trained with the airborne and stuff like that. So he kind of told me a bit of stories, and it was something when I was young, something I really aspired. I wanted to be a part of, but yeah, didn't
Okay.
quite
Well, we
happen.
have it's not quite the ROTC, but you start in high school and then you move through the program. So once you did all of that and you were able to join, what year did you actually join as a Reg Force member?
I joined. It was 2004.
Okay.
No, 2003. April,
Okay.
I believe, is when I signed
Ah,
my
it's been a long
contract.
time, man.
Yeah.
I feel you. It's all good. What trade did you go?
Infantry.
Infantry. Was there, is that just like you wanted to go on the front, or is that was just like what was chosen for you because you're a big dude?
Absolutely. No, I kind of wanted to always do that, be on the front. And just from growing up as a child, I remember a lot frequently would drive past the Lake Street armories, and sometimes you'd get lucky and get to see some of the guys in their olive drab uniforms doing something in the parking lot, or, if you're coming home from school, they're rappelling out of a helicopter somewhere along the way. And that was just something that really captured me in a sense where I thought, wow, that's really neat. That's something I definitely would want to do. And I just always kind of pictured it as it would be something as like rough and tough, and just, I don't know, I thought it
Yeah.
fit. I thought it fit.
Do you remember looking back at Canada in those years thinking like, God, we were cool,
Oh man, I was so patriotic. I was so patriotic.
right?
Yes. I remember, and it's because at the very beginning, I remember Air Cadets. That's what started for me at first. I was in the 23 Optimist Club, St. Catharines,
Oh
and the Air
man.
Cadets there. Yeah, I probably could have put a better effort in. I was a bit of a rambunctious adolescent, I guess I could say, would probably be the good word.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, so I started in the Air Cadets, and when I was so young, I remember the first thing I couldn't wait was I thought it'd be such an amazing thing to be able to go and serve your country and earn your medals.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I thought the distinction, to have in your medals that's for service to Canada was just something so very special. Yeah.
Well, it's always fun talking to I love it. I talk to so many different type of people now in the past 5 years of this show, but I always love talking to Canadians because and like Far East Canadians because I'm so far west now. I don't hear anything other than Pashto, Farsi, Cantonese, Mandarin, sometimes English if I'm lucky. But when I talk to people that are from the Far East or even Ontario or any of those places, it's like you can hear the Canadian. You don't even have to say you're patriotic. You just sound it. Like it's just your accent just sounds it. And it's so refreshing too, because I think so many of our service members, we joined for the same reason. We all were patriotic. We all wanted to help the country. We all wanted to go and serve. And then, I mean, for you, you joined when Iraq started popping for the United States not too long after 9/11, and you clearly saw what was going on. There had to be chatter of it. So you had to know at some point you were going to deploy.
Yeah, yeah, that's something
Right.
I really wanted to do, actually. I remember watching the invasion of Iraq, and I remember I was I was quite excited because I was kind of discouraged because I wasn't getting deployed to Iraq. But I remember calling. I might sound might this may sound bad, but I remember I was calling the Americans. I tried to join the Americans 3 times at one point. I wanted to join the Marine Corps, but unfortunately, this would not. It said unless you have a green card and you
Mm.
have like indigenous blood in you, there was no way at that time to join. So
Well, I
yeah,
mean, too bad you could join now, no problem, I'm sure.
I think I'm a little too old
We're a
now.
little out of it now, huh? Well, I mean, that's what's cool, man, is that's what I try to highlight here is like to people, you signed on the dotted line, not for anything other than for patriotism and signing up for your nation because you believed in it. And so I want to jump ahead for a little bit and then we're going to go backwards because I want people to understand why you became on my radar. In 2021, a friend of mine who has another podcast, Mark, reached out to me and told me that one of our guys had been offered MAID. And I don't know if you remember 2016. Did you ever hear about the legalization coming forward about euthanasia?
I remember faintly keeping track of it.
Yeah.
Euthanasia, yes, and it was a medical assisted suicide, and the euthanasia name for it,
Yeah.
and it was yes, yes, yes,
So it's
certain.
funny because I think about it, right? And the reason I'm asking is because it happened in British Columbia. And at the time I was living here and I heard about it in like the local news, like the newspaper, right? My ex-in-laws used to read the newspaper a lot, still do, don't know why. And I saw it, this lady wanting to die, and they wanted this BC doctor to be able to do it for her. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I mean, that makes sense. The lady was dying, she was already active dying. And I thought to myself, okay, well, who would I be to say that that person shouldn't have the right to die? Who would I to be to say that person shouldn't have the right to end their life? You know, I was so in my sickness and my illness from the war, and you were going through your own version of it around that time. So it's like, who are we to, who are we to say that they can't? But then you started hearing about it a little more and a little more. They kept it really hush hush. The media never spoke about it for those, 4 or 5 years. And then I heard about, don't know if you did, this like thing called an expansion was happening. And it was just this other track, and it just meant more people could die. And I was thinking to myself, like, there's something about that feels wrong and fishy. And I couldn't at the time because it wasn't my area of focus. I was so busy dealing with the Afghan pullout. I wasn't focused on thinking, okay, maybe they'll target veterans with this. I just knew, the Schmovid pandemic had popped, and I knew, I mean, I'm sure you saw it too, because a lot of us did, this control tactic that was about to be enforced on everybody. And these forced, drugs put into everyone's systems. I was like, oh man, they're going to go after veterans with this for sure, because the military is going to say it has to happen. These guys are going to have no choice. And this is going to get out of hand really quick. And then I got the phone call one day. I remember I was sitting in the backyard, and he texted me and he sent me a voice message, and he's like, hey, you're never going to believe what just happened. And so I got on the phone with him and talked to him about it. He goes, you got to talk to this guy. And so he got permission to send me the audio recording. I listened to the audio recording and I went, holy shit. Because if they're offering it to one, they're offering it to more. And my case manager called me that day and I said, are you recording this? And she goes, why are you asking that? I said, are you recording this? And she goes, it is recorded. I said, perfect. I want you to hear this loud and clear. I know what you're doing. I know what you've done, and it's only going to get worse for you. She goes, what are you talking about? I said, and at this point, the story had broke. And I'm thinking to myself, this isn't a one-off. None of these things are ever one-offs. They're always something bigger. So talk to me, because you were well before 2021.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad that you brought that up because now I'm starting to get my memory refreshed here. I was going to university around 2013 while I was still in, actually. And I remember in my criminology social study courses, euthanasia was being brought up. And it was the question of being ethical and morality of, is it right for someone to be able to exit early, and the factors considering if they're like in kind of pain or something like that, and it would be better
Mm-hmm.
for them if they're already knowing that they're going to pass. So yes, and it's funny that you mentioned it because there's a lot of coincidences that surround this, isn't there? Like this has been said before. I've heard it with I'm not going to say names, but there's politicians in the past that has leaked. They said it would be cheaper for Veteran Affairs if Canadian
I know what
soldiers just
politician you're
died over
talking about.
exactly.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And when it comes to that, you look at, I remember mentioning to the case manager, I said, it really feels at this time, it really feels like you just want to put us in the bare minimum salary, tell us we can't
Yeah,
work, and then you stick
yeah.
us in a hole and you take away the purpose. And then, like, what are we supposed to do with this time? What do you go out and spend your money to make yourself feel better? You're not going to have very much money very long, very long. It's like,
No,
what am I to do? So I'm going to sit here and stare at the wall or watch TV. You can only do that sometimes. I'm going to go
yeah,
walk up and down this path. I don't know, every day. Like how,
yeah.
so, um, yeah. I think it was encouraging to, like maybe kill yourself, and that's the problem that veterans have had. Obviously, it's we have more veterans that have died from suicide that have actually died in combat in Afghanistan.
By a long shot.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's.
So this happened. So the reason you were in such an interesting story, other than you're a cool person, period, is that you unfortunately were somebody that was offered, and the narrative that's going on right now, and it's funny because there are people who are now, we've been talking on this show since 2020, 2021 about this issue being like, we should, raising an alarm going like, something's wrong here. Like, why aren't people paying attention to this? And it was really funny. I received a message this morning and I started laughing. I was dying. They're like, hey, did you see Sean Ryan and Tucker Carlson are talking about your numbers on MAID? And I started laughing because I was like, where do you think they're learning this from? You think that all of a sudden, I said, I've spoken to Tucker, I've spoken to Sean. Both of them have said I'm not a fit for the show, but will read my data. So here's what I don't understand is this stuff is happening. This stuff has been happening. And what's crazy is people are not acknowledging that it's not only happening to veterans, it's happening in America, right? And everyone thinks that this would never happen in America, but they have 10 states in one jurisdiction that are doing the same damn thing. And so when you just point at Canada as the bad actor, which we are, we're horrendous right now. I think we can agree on that. When you look at us, you have to understand that almost all of our policy lately, the past 10 years, feels like we do it first for like 18 to 24 months before everyone else. And then it trickles downwards, almost like precipitation, down into America, like where they're at, right? And so if they're going to do this to Canadian veterans and lie about it, how do we not think they're going to do this to American veterans? How do we not think it's not going to start?
Yeah. And to say a lot of us maybe our circumstances are different from others, but maybe the mind isn't so great. The organs are healthy. Now let's talk about organ harvesting. And we could start getting into this this influence of and it's been infiltrated and it's been stated, the Chinese Communist Party. Ooh, that's a big one, isn't it? Ooh,
they don't like to talk about that.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong, David, when you look at how the Chinese Communist Party treat the Uyghurs, right? You know who the Uyghurs are, the Muslim Chinese individuals who eat really healthy, very clean. They harvest their organs from them. It's like a known thing. That's why you don't have to wait on a list for China. They're like, you want a heart? You'll have it tomorrow. Like, don't worry. And that's the problem is I was able to find about a couple months ago, I put it on my Substack for people to read. You guys can go ahead. There's a link in the bio. And I suggest you do because it blew my mind. And I was like, there's no way this is real. Kelsi, you've Candace Owened yourself into a hole here. So I was like, let's see how bad this is. Turns out Health Canada funding Canadian Blood Services funding CanMap. And where do you think it says organs are mandatory if you want to use MAID?
Yeah. And another thing with the blood services, a lot of it that's about to expire that we donate, a lot of it is getting sold for profit in the United States too.
Well, the heart, everyone just saw the heart issue, right? Canadian Heart went from Canada to America to an American citizen. And, we have so many people in Canada that need a heart. Like there's no reason why that should have crossed the border. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with sending stuff to America. I love America. I don't care what anybody says. I am a Trump voter. If I could have voted for him, I would have. I think that he's a leader most nations need, whether you like what he does or you say he's on the Epstein list. My always argument about that as well, a lot of influencers have that Epstein list and they're not releasing it. So the hypocritical behavior is out of this world. But the point is that organs are, when you look at on the sheet, when it comes to MAID, it actually gives you a track setting and it tells you organ donate, like you have to be an organ donor. And now in Canada, they're doing death by organ donation, which means they wheel you in and you die by them taking your organs. And they are being used, they are being sold, and to act like they're not is insane. But when Health Canada is at the root of this, who is the government, who is funding CanMap to say to them, this is how you train all your doctors to kill more people. and then you can take their organs and sell them. It's insanity. And now the new law in Canada is that the new bill is that everyone is a presumed organ donor unless you say otherwise. Where before it was you have to sign up on your license to be an organ donor. So I tell people, if you don't want to donate your organs, you have to go say, no, I do not want to do it. And I'm not saying that organ donation, people need kidneys, people die and they want to give their stuff to people. And I'm fine with that, but not with MAID.
Yeah, no, it gives us that kind of incentive is not a good thing. I was vaguely going over an article, skimming through, and actually there was something like it was to do with a patient that was going to be going through with MAID, and then it turned out she was going to be all right or something. And the doctor said, "Oh no, go ahead, just go through it, just do it because you want organs." Like, that's insane. That's murder.
There was a lady who did the same thing. She was going in for cancer treatment. She was having a double mastectomy. She had, it was in the media. I think it was like stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. They were going to remove her breast to remove the cancer tissue. And she's in her like gown. I don't know if you've ever had a surgery, but I had a recent one, like the 23rd I've had actually. I had it in my knee surgery, and they sit you down in your gown. And can you imagine being in that vulnerable position where you're about to be knocked out? You're about to put your hands on all of these people's lives. And the doctor sat down beside her and said, "Have you ever thought of MAID?" And she's like, "I'm going in for life-saving surgery. What are you talking about?" Wow.
Yeah. That's unreal.
So it's unreal, but I think this paints the picture I'm trying to get to. So you, my friend, like the majority, not to group you in with the rest of us jarheads, but the majority, we struggled with something coming home from Afghanistan. We went to the sandbox only to come back to a place in Canada where it now looks like the same sandbox we fought in, and it smells like it too. And we were left kind of to be told we're broken toys. And then they wonder why we struggle. Like you said, they give us a pension. They say you can't make more than $19,999 above that, or you lose all of your benefits, and you can't work. And if you do, we'll send cars to follow you around. I know for a fact it happened to you. It's also happened to me. And these people are PIs to see if you're lying, when really we have how many Hamas members sitting in Canada with passports that they have multiples of, and they're actually the financiers of terrorism, and they're not being followed, but we are being followed. So walk me through what happened. You can go into your deployment if you choose. You don't have to, but you can also just start where you're most comfortable and tell me how the hell we even got here.
Oh, good question. I was just thinking that it's insane to think that we even have gotten here as a country. Canada, come on. Like,
I know
what happened.
I know.
Yeah, and then sorry to touch on a couple other things, like you're saying, like they changed the benefit system before 2005 to 2018. We're the only ones. Those are the Afghan veterans. We are the only ones that are penalized, that we are not allowed to make extra income. Isn't that something? There's too many coincidences. People following you, people following. Yes, I've had people mess with me. The most random stuff, like trying to bait me, get me going. Because I am a kind of a guy back in the day, the old David, you would act out and not think about what he's doing and get himself in
And you're
trouble.
not a small dude, homie.
Yeah, no. People definitely try and take advantage of stuff like that. But in another point here, with everything that you're saying, there's a lot of conspiracy stuff involved here for me, because if you were to go and report, if you had evidence and you started taking pictures and you're like, who am I taking pictures of? Thankfully, you know what? I actually do have a bit of a photographic memory, and especially for faces, and cars and stuff like that. So when I see, I remember, I catch on. But for someone, a normal person, what are you going to do? Go around? You're going to look like a madman. Then you're trying to report this. First thing I would like to say, if you go to the police station and you say, "Oh, I have people gang stalking me." Now, here's something interesting that I learned. If you are to report a description of something like that that's happening to you, you say that you are being gang stalked. Don't say that, because as soon as you say gang stalk, the SOP for most of these organizations, the protocol is right away to say you are in crisis, and they're going to stick you in some mental hospital. Like,
now you're getting it. Paranoid. Yeah. That's what they don't want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was It's funny too because when I thought I was gonna be able to testify, but it didn't happen. But that's okay. And I'm making things very public and saying, yes, my name is David Baltzer. I'm okay with sharing what's I've been a victim of from this country that I served. And then,
and if it makes you feel better, that testimony is a waste of your time. It's a joke. The liberals are doing it as political theater to pretend they care. Don't even think that it would have, like, I appreciate that you wanted to, but I'm telling you, it would have caused you more distress than anything else, because all the liberals did is sit there and call every single one of you liars.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're the ones tampering with evidence and everything, and then calling us liars. It's disgusting.
Right.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, how'd you get here?
So I ended up going to Afghanistan in 2006, and then that was quite an operation. We were attached to the 1st Battalion. I was 2nd Battalion Bravo Company. And we operated a lot around the Panjwai district, Arghandab River. We're all over the place. I gained the call sign designated for my OC Grimshaw. Great man, by the way. Great leader. And same with, my platoon commander and my Warrant Hessel and Captain Ferris. Couldn't ask for any better leadership than that. That was fantastic. And that tour went very smoothly because of that. Well, smoothly in a sense of getting things done. That's for
right,
darn
effective.
Sure. Absolutely. And OC Grimshaw designated he gave me the call sign, Baltzer the breaching tool, over the NATO call sign. So that was quite a proud moment. And no longer did we carry around the breaching tools, and I was always there kicking in all the doors, which was quite a highlight for me. I'll tell you, at the time when I was, anyway, so we'll skip from that. I came back home, went on leave, came back. They put us in the MPTF. They said, who wants to go to Afghanistan again? We're going to go on the road to Afghanistan. And it was 8 months of training, workup training. So, basically, I did a couple months of workup training. The first tour, we kind of just went over there full force, just 100% balls to the wall. Let's go, let's get it done. So it was a little different because we were the battle group of 2VP going over there. And so we had a lot of transfers, guys coming out of the schools and stuff like that, coming out of the battalion. And then there's a lot of high-ranking guys not really liking like the guys with experience that we had, or no-hook privates, corporals, because essentially, we were the ones that knew what was up. And they didn't
because they were door banging before these guys even started leaving the wire.
Yeah. So had to sit there and really bite my tongue. I wasn't very good at it. A very humbling experience, but sitting there being told how it is, so did it. A lot of guys didn't want to bother going. Well, I don't blame them either. That's fine. Me, I had something different inside of me. It was, I went over again in 2008, and I can tell you honestly from that, it was killing with hate, a lot of hate. Stored
revenge
deep down in there. Yeah. A lot of guys said, I respect my enemy. I remember I was like, what do you mean respecting it? I never understand that concept. I don't respect these guys at all. I wanted to do my thing, so
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So was fortunate enough to do some very high level stuff with some agencies that are from the States on the ground. It was the highlight of my life. I was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So after 2008, things started to catch up. A lot of unresolved things. So eventually, start going through I was one of the first guys to start going into mental health and all that. And this was something that was really frowned upon. And I was known to be pretty big hard ass. I'm pretty sure there's guys that have had to go to counseling because of me. It's not it's not a right thing. I was different. I was wired different, and I knew what I was getting into. In the second tour, I wanted to make sure guys knew what they were getting to as well.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I would rather, and I know this is gonna sound, I would rather somebody who knows what the hell that happened and the reality of it, rather than finding out the hard way. Rather be yelled at somebody who gets it than, and that's why I respected some of my staff. They'd done this game before, but not a lot of, like, not in your time, not a lot of people had. You guys were one of the first ISAF units outside of the United Nations for Canada that started door kicking. And I mean, you guys were there, was it right around the time of the White Schoolhouse attack?
Yeah.
With Nicola Goddard, the first artillery female ever killed. You know, you guys were there during a time where there was no rules. It was the Wild West, man.
That's right. We're there on our own
Yeah.
ROEs, rules of engagement, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I give yourself some grace on that. I'd rather somebody who gets it, that keeps me alive, than somebody who pretends like this isn't a battlefield and the enemy is your friend.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, so it was quite an experience. Something I at one time I was thinking, you know, screw this. What did I do? Screw Canada, screw my. But you know what? You can't ever let anyone take that away from you. You got to be proud and remember what you've done and what you're a part of, and the brother and sisterhood that you have and what you carry, because the bond is, you're not going to get it anywhere else. You're not going to get it anywhere. It's like I was closer with some of these people more than my own family, my own blood. Honest. So I'm not sure if I
believe it. No, you're right there, friend. You're right there. So you do the deployment, you start going to the mental health stuff. That's you're already being targeted when you're in CAF and when you guys are going in and out, because you're seeing, you know, back then that wasn't like the smart thing to do. That was like how quickly can you end your career by doing this?
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry. I wasn't like, this was after coming back. Good. After coming back.
Yeah.
Then I started going to the mental health. Right. And then this was, I think it was kind of good because it actually kind of encouraged a lot of guys going, what? Baltzer's going? Okay. So that is a good thing. And a lot of guys I've changed over the years. I've been able to sit and talk and have some in-depth, like heart-to-heart conversations with a lot of guys. So I think that is a really good thing that we've come that far. And look, you got these podcasts. We got Mark. We got you. We got tons. It's thankfully that we have that old school mentality outdoor, and people shouldn't be afraid to go out and talk and have help from professional services. So so after this, there's quite a time that was going by. I was there was things that I wasn't able to express myself, things that would happen. I wouldn't be able to properly express myself, and I would end up getting myself into trouble. And that was the environment I was in. It was a war environment, you know. So things went different than I wanted, but at the end of the day, it was good. But I'm kind of losing my train of thought right now.
No, it's okay. So you go back, you're doing treatment, and you're getting some support. What year did you leave the military?
I ended up leaving 2014. That's when I discharged, September 2014. Yeah.
And did they discharge you with a diagnosis, a 3B? What was it?
It was an honorable discharge, medical for PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been a 3B med release, and that would have been, what percentage did they give you when you left?
When I left, I think I was probably hitting around 60%.
Oh, wow. So you were already in a fairly high number.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was causing a lot of trouble. It was showing there's a lot of things, drinking, and then, you know, I'd always end up stunting my own growth and not taking care of things.
You know, and in fairness, man, that's like the majority of people. Half of my unit right before we deployed all went out and did cocaine at a strip club the night before, right before a drug test, and got ushered out the back door by a bunch of warrant officers. Otherwise, we would have had no one to deploy. So, you know, it's not, you know, the way you were going about coping with things is not a shock. And I don't think it's anything to be frowned upon. I think it's fully expected after going to a war zone and coming home to a nation that feels like it was seeing us as nothing more than dirt. So it makes sense. So you're going through this process, 2014 to 2019, you have a whole life as a civilian with just ups and downs like all of us do.
Yeah. And then also to navigate that as well, I have 3 children. I don't speak about too much of my ex because it's been extremely
Yeah.
messy, and I'm kind of in a situation where I've been alienated, haven't, but I'm working towards getting them back in my life here at this moment.
Good
So,
for you.
but
That's all that matters, man.
yeah,
That's all
so
that
I was
matters.
just going to school, trying to support my family the best way that I could, educate myself to further all of us along.
Yeah.
I ended up getting out and I was thinking, okay, I got to get back to work. I got retrained in heavy equipment, worked in diamond mines, fracking, oil field, everything. And then, it's the hardest thing after service is just the purpose. It's just not really doing it for me, you know?
Right.
And then I kind of alienated myself from my service and just was only my family only. I had no social network at all. So that's also not a good thing to do as well, because you're also alienating yourself from a social aspect, which is also not good. And then separation later took place. I ended up, I was in Brandon, Manitoba. I'm from Southern Ontario, Brandon, Manitoba. I'm like, what is going on here? What is there? It's a small town. It's the messy
Very small.
separation. People know people. It wasn't going very good for me. So this was the time I was like, I can't handle this place. I'm out of here. I'm going to go back home. Go visit. I was visiting at first, and then I ended up deciding to stay for an amount of time. I ended up living in Toronto, and then this was around the time when I was starting to have some mental health crisis, and I was just it felt like every time you're trying to take care of something, you're just constantly being hit with something, bombarded. It's like, take care of one thing. Oh no, it's okay. Just all of a sudden something's going to hit you like a freight train. So did a lot of that. And then after, getting a letter in the mail, having to prove that I made my child support payments so that I get my license taken away. Okay, cool. The next thing, I get another letter in the mail. VA, your benefits, you haven't been working with your case manager, so you are going to be kicked off the program, which wasn't the case. I was working with her. She wasn't working with me. And it was that time when I called in and I said, okay, I just let it all out. And this was just, I remember I was like, I better get on the phone now because it's the holidays. I can't remember if it was 2 days before Christmas or maybe it was a day before the New Year holidays.
Yeah, in that holiday time, yeah.
So I remember I was just like, I better get on the phone here and get this straightened out before it's too late. So I did what I could, and that's when I called in, and it was I believe a call center. He wouldn't tell me what call center he was from, but he basically said, okay, well, there's one in BC, one in Charlottetown. I think there's one in Kingston. He's like, it is this time, so if you're calling at this time, this would be the
right.
So yeah, that's
'tis the season, right?
Yeah, so that right when you're at the lowest point too, that's the most brutal thing. And I was seriously thinking that at one time. I was thinking, man, if I just did something just to be done with this, I wouldn't have to deal with any of this anymore. Like, forget it. But I remember in the description he told me, he says, oh, listen, he's like, I want you to think about this. Don't freak out. You've tried this treatment. I said, it doesn't seem like anything's really working for you. Have you ever considered medical assisted suicide? And that's when I was just like, I lost it. It's like, I knew it because there was a prior conversation like months before with the old case manager, and exactly what I said. It seems like you just want to put us in a hole and want us to die. No, that's not what we want. It was a very heavy conversation, and the next thing you know, that's what happened.
Okay, so then talk to me about what year this was.
2019. Yeah.
So you're saying 2019, when only track 1 was available for terminally ill and natural foreseeable death was the only option for euthanasia, medical assistance in dying in Canada, and Veterans Affairs offered it to you, was it 19, 20, 21, 3 years before track 2, which is non-foreseeable death, and still Still then illegal to offer to anybody with mental illness as the main reasoning for MAID. So not only did they lie, not only couldn't we prove it, that same case manager, it sounds like, was the one that started offering in 2021, which means if this person had offered in 2019, that 3-year gap, more people have been offered.
Yeah, it's some pretty serious stuff too, and that's that you bring it up that it was actually illegal to be offering that to people who were fine. Like it wasn't like we
Yeah,
were
super
ready
illegal.
yeah, it wasn't like we were on
Yeah,
our way out
super.
in a couple months. Our clinic
No, and
couldn't go.
even then, you were not supposed to offer it when it was terminally ill. It had to be requested. So that's what I try to explain to others, is that people say, well, Kelsi, have you ever been with somebody or been around somebody who has cancer or somebody who has, dying by Alzheimer's? It's like, actually, here's the thing. It's not even about that. You're missing the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is they're targeting and dangling a carrot of relief to others.
And I might add as well, because I forgot to add this. He even told me,
Yeah.
it says, we'll give you a military funeral. Your family will always be taken care of. You'll never have to worry. Yes. The more and more I think about this, the more memories start to come up. And
well, of course, you suppress it, man. It's not.
Yeah.
Oh, so what's crazy is that tells me that they didn't want people to know that they were going to be offering you MAID. They didn't want people to know that you would have taken it. They would have done everything they would have done for a combat soldier who died on the battlefield. But the difference is the enemy is the government and not the Taliban.
Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Oh my God, man. This is what drives me up the wall.
They say one
that
thing and another. It's
well, 2019, man, is such an early time. Like it's such an like that's not even. They said that this didn't start till 2021, and it was one case manager in one office. And this is what Sean Casey said. So this is what blows my mind. He's the MP that was during the testimony. You guys can look him up. He's an absolute lunatic. He associates with lunatics, and I'll explain where that comes from in a second. But he sat there with the just audacity to say, and that man apologized, so move on. It's like, I don't know. Last I checked, to counsel suicide is illegal. And if that person does kill themselves, is that not already a problem? Like, is that not already... Do you understand what I'm saying? That's leading.
How about some charges and some lawsuits? How about that? That sounds a bit more appropriate, doesn't it?
Well, that's what's crazy too is, Valor Law is going bananas right now. And Kathleen Christensen is putting together a very large group of people. Have you spoken to her yet?
I have.
Yeah, good. So this is my point, is like, these people may not have been charged yet. These people may not have been brought forward yet, but it doesn't mean that's not coming, because anybody who thinks they can toy with the mental health of those who signed on the dotted line and somehow they're going to get away with it. That's what boggles my mind, is these case managers. There is a good subset of them, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have a new one right now I'm not a fan of, but I had two great females back to back. One got fired because she wouldn't get the schmovid vax, and the other one, I don't know what happened. Something family oriented happened. She just left. And then I got given this guy whose language, I literally can't say his name. He does not, like, he speaks English, but I can't say his name because I don't know how to pronounce it. And this is part of the problem, is we've got people who don't have the same ethics and moral values as us, or understand what it means to serve. And I could be wrong. Maybe this guy served, but it doesn't sound like he did based on the conversations and him reading from a script. Like, there's no empathy. There's no compassion. There's no real understanding of what veterans go through. And I've said this to him before, and he lied right to my face. Are you recording me? He goes, no. I said, I can tell you're recording. I can tell based on the script you're reading. Like, this is ridiculous. You have to call me once a month still since 2009. I have to hear your bullshit. So these guys don't seem to understand that they're triggering. They don't seem to understand that they're uneducated. And that, what if, and this sounds what it sounds like to me, what if somebody just had a proclivity for death and liked to watch people suffer? like, I don't know, Ellen Weeb or Stephanie Green or any of the other MAID killers in the world. What if these people actually got off on watching people die? Because they do talk about how it's the most beautiful work they've ever done. Those are their words. And that they'll never stop doing it because it's so satisfying. Could you imagine if you and I came home and said how satisfying it was to kill people in Afghanistan? Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
And it was, but that's not the point.
That's why they sent us. Oh, you're going to have to go to mental health. You can't say that, but exactly.
You can't say that.
And there's been articles I've read through the years where it had come to expose there's doctors bragging about how many people they have killed.
Yeah, Ellen Weeb. That's who you're talking about. Yes. She's the #1 MAID, most prolific killer in Canada, other than the head of Danielle Smith's public health that she handpicked, who's been ready for this. Are you ready for this? The head of public health for Alberta, Danielle Smith, the only one that's actually putting, freedom of speech forward and actually fighting for Canadians. So this is why this one pisses me off. I'm like, really, Danielle? You were doing so good. Her head of public health that she handpicked was a major in the military. And he's one of the largest MAID doctors and has been doing MAID since 2016. Right on. So my question is, if you and I walked into a psychiatrist and said, like, just literally used the quotes that Ellen Weeb has used in the National Post, which is public, by the way. It's why they can't sue me, because I'm just reading what she says out loud, and in the documentary Liz Carr's, because I know Liz, Better Off Dead, where she talks about it's the most beautiful work she's ever done. And then I've sat across from the serial killer in Salt Spring Island while she tried to convince 165-year-olds and plus that she's killed over 1,000 people, said it on record out loud, because I have a witness that was with me. And she said it was the most beautiful work she's ever done, how peaceful it is, how wonderful it is to do. And at the end of the talk, she suggested that you leave your inheritance to dying with dignity. Don't tell me we wouldn't be locked up if we started doing that stuff or saying those things about Afghanistan. Oh my God, David, that house we just got into? Wasn't that the most beautiful work you've ever done?
Yeah, right.
Right? Come on. Yeah. I'm just pointing it out. I'm trying to give context to a really shitty situation, something you should never have been offered in the first place, and you should never have been abandoned by them in the first place at all.
Yeah.
Just fucking madness. So, that being said, can I ask you, in all honesty, how that made you feel when you got off the phone with him?
Absolutely furious. Furious. I was screaming. I was angry. It made me feel, at that one point, that's when I established, okay, that's it. You have to take care of #1, and no one else is going to do it for you. No one gives a shit. This was right. At a time, too, I wasn't in contact with anyone, no family, nothing. I was like, shit, I need help. I have nobody. Right. The most. And then it was, so that was So but I just felt really betrayed. I was just, and just more and more now. Now I feel like I hate Canada. I hate it. I'm so angry. I am so angry. Yeah. And like, just look at the news. Look at everything that's been going on. I can't believe it's happening. Everything, like, that election was fixed. I'm telling you, man, that election was fixed. There's no.
I think everybody knows that.
They're taking the elections home, the ballots home.
The election ballots.
When does that ever happen? How has this happened? There's Chinese communist people working for Elections Canada.
Yeah. And CISA said it. This is what's crazy is everything that you're saying. And Ben, I know my producer is going to rewatch this. Ben, if you type in 2015-16 CSIS report in the media, can you pull it up? It's got it'll say CSIS warning about election interference. Legitimately, like, that's our FBI. For people who don't understand Canada, like, CSIS, CSIS is our FBI, and they do looking at Canada, and they look the interference that comes within Canada, and they stated that alone. They were very clear about it alone. There's election interference. There is real stuff happening here. We even had one of our prime ministers call for violence towards one of our MPs who was running in China, saying that maybe he could trade him. And this is what's crazy is there's so much evidence to show that the CCP have infiltrated Canada, including sitting MPs, and the fact that in 2021 at Connaught Range in Ottawa, we were training the Chinese military, and off of Salt Spring Island, not far from me, that we saw the Chinese military marching on our islands.
Or how about the
Are we
200 intelligence officers training on the East Coast, and also the 200 intelligence officers that were training on the West Coast? A lot of people also don't know, one of the COVID years, the Chinese Navy was off the
Yep.
coast of BC doing war
Yep.
games. And this
Yeah,
was
that's the
during
Salt Spring Island.
Yeah.
They were bringing them out to Salt Spring, where no one is, where barely anybody exists. And they're very, very incredibly liberal over there. That's where they did the MAID information thing with Ellen Weeb, was on Salt Spring Island. The island's this big, and it's all hardcore, very white liberals that are just like wealthy and have left and
It's
are
like a
just
satanic cult,
like,
in my opinion.
it's messed up. And they had photos of soldiers marching on Salt Spring. And within that, we even had secret Chinese police stations in Toronto and
Yes, we
Vancouver
do.
yes, we do. And they got caught.
There's one in Kelowna too. I know. Yeah.
But this is my point. People are
Yeah.
acting like you and I are conspiracy theorists. And it's like, yeah, until it comes out in the next few months. Hey, let me interrupt you for 10 seconds because this actually matters. You can eat clean, train hard, you can meditate daily, and still feel like garbage if your body is overloaded with toxins. Modern life is loaded with heavy metals, microplastics, and those sticky, stubborn, forever chemicals. This stuff builds up quietly time over time and shows up as fatigue, brain fog, inflammation, and gut issues, and even poor sleep. The constant sense of being off, even when you're doing everything right. That's why I want to tell you guys about my new partners, Masterpiece by Human Consciousness Support. Masterpiece isn't some trendy detox gimmick or harsh cleanse. You guys know I do not do those. It's a scientifically formulated detox support made with microscopic organic zeolite, one of the most powerful binders, combined with bioavailable sea plasma minerals. And in plain, simple language, it basically helps your body bind to toxins, move them out safely, and replenish essential minerals inside instead of depleting you. This isn't about masking symptoms anymore or chasing those quick fixes. It's about reducing the toxic load in your body so that your nervous system, your brain, and your energy can actually function the way it's supposed to. People using Masterpiece report clearer thinking, better energy, improved digestion, and noticeably sense of calm internally. This isn't hype. It's not some miracle. It's just real changes that add up over time. So if you guys are serious about your health, which I know you are if you're listening to this show, then go and grab a bottle. And once you grab a bottle, it'll come with an extra one. In a world that's getting more toxic, and definitely not less, this one is worth your attention. The link is in the bio with the code. It's just Kelsi. Give it a shot. Hey everyone, there was a point when I realized I wasn't burnt out. I was just depleted. Not emotionally, not physically. I was just training and working and thinking constantly, writing for this show, and replacing it all with caffeine and grit. And what changed things for me was fixing the basics. Great hydration, real minerals, and support for my nervous system instead of the constant stimulus. Good Living's electrolyte mix covers all of what most brands and people are missing, whether it's creatine, cordyceps, sea salt, potassium, magnesium, and thankfully, no added sugar, in ratios that actually make sense for the body. And their functional mushrooms help with focus and stress without flipping your nervous system into fight or flight. It's not exciting, it's effective. I don't use wellness products, but Good Living earned a spot in my daily stack, and I will never live without it again. If you want to feel more stable instead of more hyped, well, the link is in the show notes. Give them a shot. I promise you won't regret it. This is what I'm trying to understand, man. For somebody who put his life on the line, signed on the dotted line, fought for his country, multiple deployments, honorable discharge, worked his ass into literally becoming one of the best that does it. And then now to have the fallout. And what I talked to a friend of mine, Jeremy, and he runs this organization in the States called the War Party Movement. I don't know if you've ever seen War Party Movement. He looks, he looks like a weird, strange Mexican with a huge mustache. And he's an actual cowboy. Like, he's not like the play cowboy. He's a rancher. He's an actual cowboy. And he has this organization called War Party Ranch. And this is where he does incredible work with assault survivors and stuff from the indigenous community, but he's American, so native, so we don't say indigenous because they actually call their people what they are. And he's talked to me about this. He goes, yeah, man, like almost all of us come home. He was a former Ranger. They almost all come home. You get a DUI, you get a divorce, you get like, these are like the standard things. Like this is like a known no. So like your story is not in any way an anomaly or embarrassing or weird or anything. It's like, this is the standard because this is the standard of care we are given. And we try to self-medicate with alcohol and drugs and disassociating because we're told we're broken and then we're given a whole bunch of pills. So it's no wonder why the divorce rates are what they are. It's no wonder why kids get taken away. It's no wonder why people are constantly killing themselves. Are we actually shocked? Do we need to do a Senate study and spend millions of dollars to go, I don't know how to prevent veteran suicide? Because that's what's happening. This is fucking unbelievable at this point. I just, when you told me your story, I was like, yeah, it's not a surprise. Like, I didn't even mean it because it's you. I'm like, yeah, all of us. Yeah. It's the majority. Yeah. I'm just grateful that you're not in that anymore. I'm so grateful you're not in that place anymore. And I'm so grateful that you've come out and become the person that you're working towards now. Like it shows that you don't have to accept the government narrative that suicide's the answer. It's the only answer, and that you're just going to be a broken toy for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I basically what I say now is do not put your trust in the government, especially do not put your trust in the Canadian government at all. Anything they say, you make sure you question everything they say, everything.
Oh wait, so you're telling me, well, they're for sure lying. No, it's not probably. It's a for sure they're lying.
Yes.
But you're telling me that we shouldn't want universal federal income. We shouldn't want the Chinese to infiltrate our schools. Wait, you don't want to do more land acknowledgements and allow it to be overrun by India? Speaking of, you're going to love this, friend. I got one for you. I got one for you. Hold on, sir. I thought about you last night when I was getting ready for this, and I was like, what's another fun one we could bring up for David and I to discuss? Did you know, these are the new numbers, as of this year, that Canada is number 4 on the world list of the most Indian people?
I seen that last night too, actually. I looked at that, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. Or was it a one time? Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, it goes US, the UAE, Malaysia, and Canada. We're at 2.875 million Indians. And then people go, Canada's fine, even though our population is already what?
Yeah.
So, to me,
go ahead.
To me, I'm going to tell you what it feels like, and then you can tell me if I'm being too Candaceoans for you. To me, based on the fact that there's over 90,000 Canadians who have been killed with euthanasia, assisted suicide, doctors murdering you. Let's always call it what it is, because we're not going to sugarcoat with the MAID, because it's not MAID, it's murder. It's funny to me that 96% of them are white. So 96% using it are white. So let's start with that. Okay, I know I'm going down a rabbit hole. Stick with me here.
No. I know exactly where you're going with this. Yeah.
And it's also just funny timing, David, that we also cut the budget by $4.4 billion for services and mental health care, right at the same time that murder, euthanasia, assisted suicide for mental illness alone will start in 2027, as we import a whole new culture to recreate Canada. Am I crazy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, cool.
And they're bringing people in droves, unchecked, undocumented criminals, just straight. That's insane. That's the massive security threat to the United States as well.
Well, thank you for saying it.
And they don't
even. Nobody care?
Yeah. And before this is what it was. The baby boomers. It took 2 workers to support one of the most prevalent population. What are they, around 70 to 80 now? I'd say 70 to 80.
Yeah.
But now it's 3. Now it takes 3, and they're opening up the floodgates. They need taxpayers. Right? Yeah.
But they're not taxpayers.
Exactly.
They're tax siphoners.
Yeah.
They take more from us. And this is what was interesting. I found this stat. This was a couple of years ago now, when Ukraine was really popping in Russia. We were taking a lot of Ukrainians. We're taking a lot of Syrians. And, Ukrainians I'm fine with taking, because number one, Ukrainians were literally getting clapped. Like, that's a different ball game. There's a difference between refugees and then pretending to be a refugee that's coming from India.
Yeah.
They're not the same. And we need to stop pretending that they're the same. And so I've never met a Ukrainian who has refused to speak English or work and get a job. I have never, ever met one. I remember being at my son's jiu-jitsu class, and there was a mom sitting beside me. She spoke very little English. First thing she did when she came to the country, I also don't know why they put her in the most expensive place in Canada to live, which was insane. But first thing she did was find a jiu-jitsu club for her son. And her daughter was sitting there trying to learn English in a school. And it was like, this is what assimilation looks like to a Canadian culture. And she was grateful to the culture. And now I'm looking, and I mean, not too far in South Surrey, there was 2 or 3 days ago, a house was just getting shot at by another Indian gang member. And you have the Indian president speaking out, saying that Canada has taken 75 of the most deadly gang members we had on student visas, who have now gone missing. Over 32,000 32,000 invaders on student visas have gone missing in this country, and the immigration minister has no clue where they are. And now we have the Hamas financier with 3 passports running around the country, and we have no clue where he is.
Yeah, happy Diwali. Everyone goes to the streets lighting off fireworks and everything. That's great. Free Palestine.
Free the terrorists from
Canadians,
the terrorists.
We want to be heard by our constituents. We want to be heard. These people that have been elected by us to be a representation of us. So everything is going on, trampling on our rights. We're going in there being peaceful, putting our flags up and labeling us as terrorists, and having old woman being trampled by horses. But you can go ahead, wave your Palestine flag. Let's
burn our flag at the same time.
It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
And it was interesting because anybody that was coming was getting, I think it was roughly $1,500 to $1,900 per person, and then another $1,500 per, and this was like the Government of Canada website. So I'm not just pulling this number out, but it was also the dependents were all getting money as well. So depending on how many children, and it seems like they all come with at least 5 kids. So, we're kicking out veterans from veteran housing to fill it up with people who don't pay taxes and shouldn't be here at all, who are relying on student visas, we don't have the population. And I don't know if you remember being in Afghanistan, but there was I was only in CAF ever for like a week total, that whole deployment, until I got hurt. And then I was there for a couple of weeks while I was ripping out. And there was a sea container that was a Tim Hortons. Did you ever go to it?
I did. When I had my chance to go on CAF, that was the first place I was going to. Yeah.
Right. Now, could you imagine walking into a Tim Hortons with the same feelings? I didn't think so, bud. Didn't think so. This is where we are. Our youth are actual Canadian born and raised, even immigrants who have assimilated Canadians. Because I'm very careful to say that not every immigrant doesn't assimilate. There's quite a few that do, and they're embarrassed of their own people coming over. And there's people making TikToks right now that are great, who are like, they have the thickest Indian accents, which makes it even better. They're like, I'm not even going to do the accent. And I almost did. I almost got myself canceled again. But they're like, dude, if you come here, assimilate. There's a reason why they don't like you. Stop dropping your garbage off on the sides of the roads thinking that's okay. Stop shitting on our beaches, where we now have to put signs up to tell you to stop shitting on our beaches. Stop acting like a fool and speak English. If you come here, it's because you left that shithole. Don't bring it with you. We don't want it. And don't tell me measles all of a sudden popped up in Canada, because it hasn't been. It's coming because our health minister states that immigrants that come here don't have to do a medical check. None of this is racist. This is all factual stuff that our own government says out loud. But somehow when we say it out loud, we're the crazy ones.
Especially if you're white.
Oh gosh. And so this is why I lean on especially if you're white. This is why I love to do this to people. They're like, well, you're a white, racist, liberal woman. I was like, well, first off, there's not a liberal bone in this body. Let's try that. And number 2, I'm Hungarian. So are you just being racist now, thinking I'm white because I'm not dark enough skin for you? And then I just lean on the fact that Michael's aggressively Black. And so I just try really hard to be the DEI hire that I can be, that the nation is looking for to lead. Just don't be a white woman or a white man, and you'll be just as successful as anybody else.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah. I know that you know that you're not alone in this fight and that you haven't been. But I think it's important to say and make sure that you understand that you coming forward is one of the rare, hardest things that can be done around this subject, because they have been very clear that they will threaten and go after anybody who speaks up about this. Are you worried?
Bring it.
That's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you're coming against.
Yeah, you don't know what you're in for. I know, but dude, I said this all the time. I'm like, you guys are targeting the same people you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach how to run around in the woods with nods on, with tripwires and flashbangs. And you think that someone's not going to eventually have something to say about this? Like,
they're certainly not smart
heads?
in choosing the people that they want to be fighting. They're definitely messing around with the wrong people that they want to be messing around with in this country, I think. Yeah.
I have a question.
I don't think they really do realize that the reality has really hit them yet, because nothing's really happened yet. But
that was going to be my next question to you, my friend, is like, do you think that there is a line where veterans or individuals, like we saw it with the trucker protest, sure. We saw it. We saw people come forward and everyone was peaceful. I mean, I live on the border out here, and we had the protests going on out here, and I went to those, and it was, when one guy started trying to like literally start causing problems and getting crazy, everyone went to him and was like, nope, we're not doing this. Calm it down. Like, stop blocking that one road. We need it for ambulances. Like, we have to be compliant if we're going to do this. Like, we had people on horses coming out from out the further parts of British Columbia, riding in on their horses. Like, it was amicable. It was respectful. It was kind. It was peaceful. And it was nice to be around people that you were seeing that were like-minded. But do you think Canada is coming to a point, with the Khalistanis being here in Harvard, with the Muslim Brotherhood being here in Harvard, and Antifa, and now Donald Trump, something's going to go? But here's the thing. Donald Trump has just, and the DOJ has just designated Antifa as a foreign terrorist organization, and now the Muslim Brotherhood this week. So Canada refuses to do either,
of course,
which is crazy. So they want to just do everything the opposite of him, which means they want us to crash and burn while they become successful. So my question to you is, do you think we're going to see something in the next couple of years that turns from just vocal protesting podcasters to something real is going to go here?
Oh, it's only a matter of time if they continue to keep pushing as hard and as aggressive as they have been right now.
Yeah.
Because here's something they need to remember, because we both know this. We have friends that have went on in this very life that do significant things in other fields.
Yeah.
And you know what? What they don't know, I guess, I know this, I'm pretty sure you know this, but there's a lot of great individuals that have moved on from the Army that are in very institutions that are very high ranking and can make a difference and can revolt. They are in the
that don't exist
in police services. They are in our intelligence services. I love the Americans, man. I love America.
They're contractors. We got contractors like crazy.
Yeah. I go down to the American border. They treat me like gold. Like gold. I come up to Canada. It's like, what did you buy? You need to declare it. Just treat you like what the frick, man. But
that's what I see here too.
Yeah.
Well, no, but you go to America, there's a narrative right now that just absolute retards like Laura Babcock and these left-wing pundits on X who think they mean anything or have a life or think that their opinion somehow does anything, who sit there and bang the drum saying Canada's great and Trump's an asshole and nobody goes to America anymore. And every time I go to America, I'm going there again in 2 weeks down to Austin. I go to America and the first conversation we have is like, how are you up there? When are you leaving? Can we come save you? Where do you live so we can
You
bang
want
on
to
your door when
trade?
we
You
cross?
want to trade citizenships there? I would be more than
Buddy, like
happy.
any day. Well, here's where I'm very grateful is I will be my partner in this life is American. And so once we're married here in the next little while, I'm applying for American citizenship. The trick is I have a child here, so we have to be, it's a little dicey. But that being said, with the amount of death threats and warnings I've been given by other people in the government, I might have to leave regardless of choice at this point anyway. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing is, the Canadian government is targeting its own citizens in a way that is really starting to become concerning, whether it's the new 11 bills that are going in. I did an episode yesterday. I actually had a Substack come out this week, and it just breaks down like Bill 2 to Bill 9 and like and Bill 12 and 10 and like all of these Online Harms Act and like freedom of speech and it's all just like, how do we crush you more as Canadians so you can say absolutely nothing, own absolutely nothing, and you can't do a goddamn thing about it. So if people were to ask, me if I would leave for America, the answer is yes. I'm always comfortable saying it. Would you as well?
Oh, absolutely. I've already been looking into it, looking at
Yeah.
yeah. I've already literally been really looking into it.
Yeah. Where would you want to go? Like out of all the states, where do you think you would want to be?
There's some great places. There's Arizona.
Yeah.
I like. There's Texas, Montana.
Oh, Montana's
South
great, man.
Dakota, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be weird, Washington, but when I go there, I stay in my own lane, and
I
I'm
live right
not
here.
political.
I'd see.
I love
Yeah,
Washington.
I live right here.
It's like such an awesome place. There's always something to do every day that's new. There's all like museums, everything. It's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, I mean, I think the US has a lot to offer, and I think they have a lot of problems too. And no one's gonna say they don't. But I think at least they have a constitution they stand by and people they do actually want to see thrive.
They literally have a state on the license plate. It says "Live free or die." Yeah.
Could you imagine if Canada knew even what that meant at all anymore?
Yeah.
I'm very proud, I think, and you should always be, of our service, of what we've done. But it doesn't mean that nations don't change. I mean, if you look back in history, whether it's party lines, whether it's land lines or countries invaded, things don't stay the same. And we keep pushing this narrative that Canada's going to stay the same. It's always going to be the same. And it's been eroding now for a long time, well over a decade now. And I'm concerned that it's never going to go back. It's going to start looking worse than the UK soon. And I'm hopeful that other Canadians and other veterans, whether they're RCMP vets or military vets, will wake up and kind of hear you talking and see that, hey, it's not just like this loudmouth girl that's saying these things. There's real people who were offered. There's real people who were told they should die. And that should scare the shit out of everyone. If they're willing to target what is our vulnerable population and our people who would go put their life on the line, why do they think it won't happen to them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you could go back, would you change anything?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I talk about this all the time too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could go back. There's lots that I would change. Yes. I think probably, honestly, I always wanted to go PPCLI because when I was a kid, I did my QL3 in the Mattawa Plains and Petawawa after my term there with the the Armory, Lake Street Armories there, Lincoln Welland. And after our training, they actually even asked us, they said, would you like to go reg for us? And I'm like, well, I got to finish high school. And after working with RCR for so long, there's a saying, they're so anal about everything. I was like, holy crap. It's like, I want to be a cowboy, man. I want to go. So that was a big thing. I want to be PPCLI, be a cowboy. But I often do wonder, I wonder what would it be like if I just went straight in the RCR from that. But I don't know, probably would in the same situation anyways. So
I think our paths are what they're supposed to be, whether we like them or
yeah,
not. And you know what? I know this may sound like weird or crazy, but just go with me on it. I think them offering it to you shows how out of check they are and shows how much they didn't know about you. Because I think a lot of people that are being offered right now, and we know this to be fact, are unwilling to come forward and they're unwilling to say it out loud. They are very afraid, which is valid, but they're
and
really fucked up with you, dude.
it's a pretty messed up situation too. You know, feeling afraid to be able to speak up, and then yet have knowing that your government has been actively trying to kill you or offer you that.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal. That's the most absolute ultimate betrayal.
Yeah.
Especially with the things that we did without even question and just went and did what we
Yeah.
had to do because we didn't question anything. We fought for who was beside us, and that's that. And there's
Yeah.
love in there and everything, right? Like there's a lot of emotion, and that's despicable. It's ultimate betrayal, 100%.
Yeah. Sanctuary trauma, right? This is
Yeah,
why when this case manager calls, people they shake. And I do the same. Still almost 15 years later, I don't want to see those phone numbers on my phone.
yeah,
You never know what it's going to be. You never know how it's going to go. Every time you got to walk into one of those buildings or have one of those conversations, you never know what's going to set off inside of you. And I think they messed up. I think they messed up badly by telling you and offering it to you. I think they messed up badly by offering it to a few of our friends. And I think they never thought it would come out and they fucked with the wrong people. And I think that's not a threat. That's the truth. You had the balls to come forward and say the hard thing and go on record and put yourself out there, say your name and say, hey, I'm here. This is what you did. I know what you did. And we're going to call you out on it. And so there is, there's no way to walk it back, right? There's nothing they could do that would walk this back. And so now that we see the agenda and what they're trying to do to the civilian population, it makes sense that they started with us. It makes sense because they knew they could and get away with it, which is no surprise. So I'm just beyond grateful that you were willing to come forward, because one of the things that happens is when you start saying these things out loud, you got to be able to bring people forward to
hmm,
prove your point. And I appreciate your willingness to do that. But is there anything else you would want to say? And this isn't the last time we'll talk, but is
yeah.
there anything else you would want to say or tell
Absolutely.
people?
Absolutely. With me coming here and being public, I really do hope that it does encourage others to be able to also stand up and speak up. Stand up,
Yeah.
speak up, because it is important. Your voice matters. One person does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Show up, speak up. You have a support network, right? We'll stick together. That never has changed. Also, one kind of informative information that I wanted to
Yes.
bring up. Uh, I have looked into it as well. And there's some legal apps like ChatGPT and stuff like that. But if you
Yep.
look up, there is case law, and I want to make people aware that between the time of 2005 and 2018, because we have been penalized because of the benefits, uh, you can sue the government for that, for unfair and unusual treatment. And
Mm-hmm.
there has been people that have sued the government for that and have won. So get onto
Good.
that. I'm all about, yeah, we wanna go, let's go. Because man,
Right.
they're gonna you want me to stop, they're gonna have to give me millions. And that's what's gonna be
Right.
I'm not joking. That's what's up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay. If it makes you feel any better, I'm right beside you.
Yeah.
And if you need anything, you let me know,
And
right? There's no way.
they're gonna give me some money. They're giving me some money. You hear me? You're
Yeah.
giving me my money. There.
Oh, they watch.
Yeah.
Trust
Good.
me, they watch.
Good.
They super
I
watch.
watch
It's
you. I
unfortunate.
watch you.
Yeah, we watch you watching us. That's why we tell you all the time. For
Yeah.
those that are watching and all of those lovely humans, it's not going to stop. None of us are going to stop. And this is going to be the problem: is you kind of lit a fire. You started a brush storm, and you don't get to put it out now. Just like all of
That's
those ones
right.
you guys started a few years ago, those 15 in Quebec that all of a sudden started overnight like that, just randomly, because that apparently happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. It's this is where we're at, man, where everything feels conspiratorial. Everything feels crazy and everything feels like we're in the upside down. But I'm optimistic because of people like you. It makes doing this worth it, and it makes knowing that we are not alone. And there are hundreds of us, I can guarantee, that have been offered or spoken to or mimicked to or otherwise. It's just about getting everyone to have the strength to come together and say enough is enough. You've lied enough, and we're going to come after you for it. And I think that's where Valor Law is stepping up in a way that I've never seen any other law firm do so. And she has no fear of this government, and she was a nurse for 20 years, so she knows how the medical system works with MAID. She knows that it's been offered, she knows that it's been done, and it's been done under the guise of the double blind. So to act like it's not happening is a lie, and we have tons of proof, and it's well over 20, and we're going to keep finding the people that are willing to speak out, and they're going to speak out because of people like you, David. So without saying, is there any way or anywhere, I don't know this, if people can support you, follow you, contact you, help you, reach out to you? Is that something you want? Or is that something we'll just tell them to contact me and we'll go through there?
Sure. If they can't get a hold of me on my social media, it's just I don't want to say that on social media.
Don't say no. You don't have
if
to.
you want to get a hold, if you're on my social media and you want to get a hold of me, feel free to send a message on Instagram or Facebook. But if you can't, go ahead, go right through Kelsi, and that works.
Yeah, and you guys all know, if you're looking to reach out, a lot of you have been breaking stories to me and willing to, you can contact me either on Substack or at info@brassandunity.com, or as well, you guys can reach out to me in my DMs on Kelsi Sheren on all platforms. We check them all. We pay attention to them all. We get back to you all. It may take some time, but we will see those stories and we will bring them forward, because it's what you guys deserve. And it's what people like David deserve, is to know that you guys are not alone. So in saying that, like I said before, if you guys haven't subscribed and you are looking for platforms that tell the truth and are honest about what's going on and just really uncomfortable realities, please do go and subscribe to any of those platforms. They are free. They help us immensely. And really, they just help us beat people like CBC to stories where, well, they just continue to lie about them anyway. So might as well hear it from us. David, my friend, this is not the last time we will speak. I will shoot you a message after this. And thank you again for the willingness, not only for your service, because I know you loved your job, and I know that you were damn good at it. And I'm very grateful for that, because you kept people around you alive. And that's really ultimately what we needed from you. And you did your job. Thank you for coming forward and being willing to say this and to better yourself every day so that you can be back in your children's lives right where you belong. And it is an honor to have you on, my friend.
All right. Thank you, Kelsi.
All right. You got it, sweetie. You stick with me. Everyone else, it's been 3 episodes a week now for a little bit. So stick with us. I'll see you guys in a few days.